January day, life changed in so many ways at once. As the day begun, I lived one life. As the day ended, I had begun anew, reborn with a new life, a new mission, reborn with a new vision. What may come, I don't know yet, but I am here alive, living my life to the fullest, with new love in my heart and soul, a gift to have, a gift to give, a new life of love, reborn.
Hello, 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 hello. Greetings, everyone. Happy Tuesday. August 5th. Jeez, wasn't it just July? So happy to see everybody. I'll let you all sort of filter in, but um, just to share a little bit, I'm your host, Teresa. This is my channel, Wounds to Wisdom. And since I began the channel in January, every single month, I introduce a new universal law of the universe. And we are in the 8th month. So thank you all for being here. It's encouraged me to be here 8 months. I wasn't sure I was going to continue. I wasn't sure about this journey and what it means. And I'm still on an evolution process, and I call myself an experiencer, right? I'm learning and exploring and trying to see what works and what doesn't work, and what engages people and what doesn't engage people. And so, just to highlight the first few. Sorry, I thought I turned my phone off. And of course, I'm getting tagged with spam. Let's turn that off. Great. So, the first universal law of the universe is divine oneness. And we've talked about that because it's about being interconnected, right? Everything and everyone is connected. And to me, that was very powerful when we kicked off the new year. The second law is the law of vibration. So that's really what we feel. We put it out. So if you are in a good mood, that goes out. If you're in a bad mood, and it's reciprocal. The law of correspondence, and what I'm referring to when I look is I have my cheat sheet here. It's what you feel is what you see. The law of attraction is, we attract also, everything's energetic. So if we're of a positive mindset, we're going to attract things that are positive. When we are negative, we attract that which is negative. And we can relate this to any of us that played a sport, dated, which could also be a sport. If you're not practicing your skill and you play a game and you're cranky and you feel like you deserved more, but you didn't put the effort out, you're getting back what you give. If you're within a friend group and all the friends are always giving and you don't, you're going to get it back eventually, which is the nothingness. Everything is an exchange of energy. The law of inspired action, and we've talked about this as well. And, you know, it's actionable steps to invite what we want in our life. So I think I used an example that, I want a Mercedes Benz. You don't just wish for a Mercedes Benz. You have to work. You have to have a job. You have to have a savings account. You have to earn that, right? It's whatever it is in this world. If we want a healthy relationship or community, we have to participate in that. It's not just one way. Abracadabra. It's not Aladdin's lamp where we, rub the lamp and we get our wishes. That's not reality. And we wouldn't appreciate it, quite frankly. I know people kid me a lot, and we do talk about, if I could abracadabra or if I won the lottery. I used to play that game every single week, at least twice a week. Oh my God, it's 500 million. Oh my God, it's, almost a billion. And I'm exaggerating, of course, but what would you do with it? Because having it and not doing something with it, it's really not going to fulfill your cup. It's not going to fill your soul. We talked about the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, which to me is a mouthful. And this is your energy. This is so poorly written out for me. Your energy level can alter for the better or the worse. Everything's connected here. The law of cause and effect from last month. If we are not kind, the effect is that we will also receive that. So when we talk today about the law of compensation, it's going to encompass so many levels of this experience that we call life. So, sorry, this little thing with my hair is going to bother me. All right. And forgive me if I sound nasally, but the allergies are a little bit out of control. So when we talk about the law of compensation, right? You receive in direct proportion to what you give, both energetically, emotionally, spiritually, materially, which falls into that financial category. The law of compensation, it's the universe's way of maintaining balance and justice. Every action, intention, and vibration that you emit is met with a corresponding return. The law is intended that no effort, no kindness, no contribution goes unnoticed by the universe, even if the reward isn't immediate or material. And I can tell you that for a long time for me, I would say that being raised Catholic, you were supposed to give without any recognition or acknowledgement. It was supposed to be without ego. And we all have an ego. We all want to be seen and heard. And at least for me, that has been a difficult law for me because, yes, I gave and I gave and I gave, and I always felt like I wasn't getting back. Now, it has come back to me tenfold in the later years of my life in ways I never expected. The generosity of my friends, of my community, of strangers, of teachers, I think there's this misperception for me. I don't want to put this on anyone else, that it was supposed to come back in some dollar amount, because our history, our life as we've been taught, educated throughout our experiences, is it's always about money, recognition, validation, promotion through money. And thank you, Jimena, for being here. And I sent you a message, by the way, Jimena. So, the key principles of this law of compensation is what you send out. Love, generosity, resentment, or fear returns to you in kind. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this energetic reciprocity in a minute. Also, effort equals reward. The more value you offer, the greater the compensation. And then we sort of talk about, or the law talks about, this multidimensional return, right? So compensation, and this is where I was going, isn't just about financial. Compensation's about, it includes emotional fulfillment, spiritual growth, opportunities and relationships. As we put out there, we get that back. Our kindness is reciprocated. Our love will be reciprocated. And this is part of it too, the delayed gratification. So the universe, God, divinity, it doesn't operate on our human timelines, right? I was saying earlier, all those years when I was younger, I gave, I did things, I hosted events, I hosted lunches. I was expecting reciprocity immediately, and it didn't come for decades. Compensation, it comes in all sorts of unexpected forms. And that's what we're here to talk about a little bit. And so when we think about living in alignment with this law of compensation, the intention is to give generously, authentically, honestly, without any kind of attachment to the outcome, right? We trust the timing of the universe. It comes in all sorts of unexpected ways, right? Peace, clarity, connection, and joy are powerful forms of compensation. Self-validation. Balance, effort, and rest. Overgiving without receptivity can block our flow. So, just have this awareness. Millie, thank you for being here. And so, the law of compensation, when we think about some of the negative energy, right? The fear and scarcity or emotional discomfort, it's not a punishment. It's a mirror, it's a messenger. And most importantly, it's an invitation for us to be better, right? It shows us where our energy is misaligned with our higher self, our oversoul, if you will. Negative compensation is a signal. It's not a sentence. It invites us to pause and reflect and realign, right? Every discomfort is a doorway, if you think about it that way, to deeper healing, emotional authenticity, and spiritual expansion. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that energetic reciprocity, because I don't want people to think that when we talk about anything that might have a negative connotation, that we're bad, because we're not. Healing through reciprocity, it's what is that discomfort trying to teach me? Where am I being invited to shift my vibration? Because we've talked about vibration before, that just because you may have a lower vibration, i.e. grief, that grief is teaching me something personally. It's allowing me space for growth. And grief also teaches, at least for me, wow, I'm capable of love because you only grieve that which you love. Right? Hold, please. I need some tea. I'm struggling through this allergy season. Ooh, it's potent. It's a potent tea. So I think what the law of compensation is really talking about, it's like a cosmic balancing act, right? You're compensated in direct proportion to the energy, intention, and action you contribute to the universe, whether that's materially, emotionally, or spiritually. Oh, cheers, Millie. So, you know, the law of, oh, nice. You had a nap. I'm jealous. I'm not jealous. I've been talking with my teacher and I haven't been sleeping, and we're trying to determine, where is the block for me to be able to get more than 2 hours at a time sleep. And I'm trying not to nap because that is preventing me from then falling dead asleep. But I'll fall asleep at 9:30 and I'm up by 11:30. Great. Bing. Now what? And I have to wait another couple hours before I fall asleep again. So I'm glad you could nap. Um, so the law of compensation, it's the universe's way of maintaining that equilibrium, right? The balance, ensuring every vibration, every cause is met in equal measure. It's it's rooted in the idea that nothing is wasted and everything is accounted for in the energetic ledger of existence, right? So it's never about punishment. Um, Even when you have fear or discomfort, that is an opportunity. It's a signal for healing and growth and realignment. And so when we talk about the law of compensation and we integrate it with the first or the seven laws previous that we've talked about, think about the divine oneness, our very first law that we talked about in January. Since everything is connected, what you give to others, you give to yourself. So compensation reflects that unity. I think that's so beautiful. That the law of vibration, the vibrational frequency determines the quality of compensation. The high vibes attract high returns. With the law of correspondence, when we talk as above, so below, your internal state corresponds to the external compensation. And when we think about the law of attraction, right, you attract compensation that matches your energetic output. Giving love attracts love. Giving compassion to someone, right, attracts compassion. Giving forgiveness attracts forgiveness. None of us is without a mistake. The law of inspired action. Action aligned with our intuition and purpose yields meaningful compensation spiritually and materially. Yeah, Jimena, it really is. We're connected. And when we think about the uh, uh, sixth law of the universe, which is the perpetual transmutation of energy, energy is always always shifting. Even small acts of kindness or healing ripple outward and are returned like a big wave back at you. It's amplified. So if we, the smallest thing that we give, the smallest kindness, the smallest smile, I talked about this when I first came on this channel, and we talked about using our words and the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz and the Ho'oponopono. When we think about how our words can influence a response, you look very lovely today. Oh my gosh, your nails are beautiful. You have a beautiful smile. To a stranger, you elevate their spirit. That's going to come back at you tenfold. When our cause and effect, the law of cause and effect, right? Compensation is the effect of our causes. Every choice sets a return in motion, whether we see it or not. Is that making sense, guys? And so when we think about rituals, receiving the echo of our own energy, all of us know these things, so I'm not going to tell you anything that you don't know, but sit in quiet, sit in silence, have a candle or a soft light. I'm a huge journaler. I think journaling a thought is, very important. You can use crystals. In this instance, you could use citrine for abundance or amethyst for spiritual clarity. Right? And then breathe. So, one of the things that I've been focusing on is different breathing techniques, and we've talked about those before, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. But you could focus in on your breath. And in this case, when you inhale, you're going to say out loud to yourself, I receive. And when you exhale, I release. And just visualize that energy flowing in and out like the waves, right? I receive and I release. I receive and I release. And you'd be surprised. Oh, I know you're a fan of crystals. And I have quite a few of my own. And one of the things I have to do is break out my little app on my phone because I didn't save some of the names of the crystals. And now they're pretty. And I have a beautiful necklace. I'll have to wear it. That you can insert different crystals into that necklace. And I really like it. But it's heavy on me. And I'm like Princess and the Pea, if anybody knows that story, that child book story. I am very sensitive to things on me, or even under me, if you will, because the Princess and the Pea, I'm not always comfortable in bed. I can feel the slightest crumb. It's really silly. One of the other things that you can do when you think about creating a ritual, especially an invocation for the divine oneness. Oh, that would be great. I'd love that, Jimena. Please do. You can say aloud or silently, I am part of the whole. What I give, I receive. What I receive, I honor. Isn't that beautiful? I wish you could take credit for that. I am part of the whole. What I give, I receive. What I receive, I honor. And when you think about your own energetic reflections, what energy have I been offering to the world lately? What emotions or thoughts or actions have I repeated? Let's see. What did Jimena put down? She says, I have to tell the story of what happened with the crystals I sent to Clint. It is an amazing story, the moving citrine that transmuted. Ooh, all right. Um, Thank you. Um, and so, what patterns are returning to me, right? Either through people or situations or inner states. And for me, you know, I I had bad habits. I still have bad habits. So, what is returning to me? What can I do to improve those things in order to change the compensation? And compensation, again, isn't just about money. So, Jimena was talking earlier, and we on her channel, um, losing weight is just one of those things that's you wish you know the right things to do. It's doing them. It's the same thing with exercising, which is my struggle. And I had mentioned that I'm going to be doing some self hypnosis, and we're going to talk about self hypnosis. And I actually think I'm going to do a couple of series on this because I want to demystify that hypnosis is not voodoo. It's not going to corrupt your way of being. It takes, what is it, 21 days of consistent action to change behaviors and patterns. Um, and it's got to be daily. And so I want to create an opportunity to teach people, here's a way of phrasing whatever it is you wish to achieve. And we can do that through self hypnosis. I can do it with you and for you, but if it's something that you need to change, I have some tools and I want to share those tools. So that is the gift of compensation. By putting something out, I will also receive, right? And when you journal, and I have some journaling prompts, for you, it's without judgment and just let the words flow. Because sometimes when we are journaling, we can be negative, and that's okay, because as you continue to write, it circles around to, all right, now that I've said all this negative stuff about the old way of being, my old self, here's the new self and the new attitude and the new ways of speaking, right? So the one of the journaling prompts um, is journaling is amazing. Yes, it is. And I should do more of it myself. So, one of the prompts is, what have I been giving freely, emotionally, spiritually, or physically? So, like Millie, I really wish I could be live on Sunday nights, but it's way past my bedtime. But Millie's part of a channel I can't even pronounce. Millie, what's it? Nuestra Tableau something or other. I don't know why you guys came up with that title. It's impossible to say. But it's shoot, I went somewhere with Millie because she was heading it up on Sunday night. Oh fudge, I lost my thought. It'll come back to me. Giving freely. So Millie was speaking, and she was giving from her heart, authentically. That comes back to her. The responses, authentically. When you are truly who you are. Thank you, Millie. Nuestra tabula rasa. God, that's a hard thing to say. Clint, hello. We were just talking about you, Clint. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Um, um, and so another prompt. What has returned to me recently, and how does it reflect my inner state? Right? So it means blank slate. I didn't know that. Thank you, Millie. Um, maybe that'll help me remember the darn name. Um, but it doesn't roll off the tongue well for me. Um, the other journaling prompt is, where have I felt discomfort or resistance? What might this be compensating for? So think about it. Sometimes we have to rise above, right? We're working with somebody who's really difficult. We're interacting with someone who just is a pain in our tush. Our response is our compensation. So how do we then, if we're having discomfort, how can we change that? How can we reverse that? How can we make that, um, flip it for a more positive compensation? What lesson or invitation is hidden in this return? And how can I shift my vibration to align with the compensation I truly desire? So if you're truly desiring connection with people, what do you have to shift within yourself? Well, I can speak personally, right? I actually have to leave my house and talk to people if my desire is to be with other people. You actually have to leave your house. You have to talk to humans. And the compensation that will come back is, I will have a community. So I think that, as a collective, this law of compensation is really about what we give, and it's tied in with all the other universal laws. And I think that that's what elevates us as humans, right? And I was doing this thing with Reiki, because I'm a Reiki practitioner. I am a Reiki master. But one of the things that I don't like to use the word master. Yes, Millie, use your inner alchemist to flip the script and use the lesson to empower yourself. It's when you think about ego, because a lot of us, and again, I'm speaking for myself, when we've done something, it's like, oh, good girl, you did that. You wanted recognition. That is ego. We want self validation. We want validation globally. Look what Teresa did. She hosted this party and all these people came. As opposed to, I have a friend, she will periodically drop something off. I know it's her. She never signs her name. She doesn't want any recognition. She had a few dollars. She was able to share it with me, and she just did. That was it. That is I don't want to say ego less, but it is a reduction in, she's not looking for the pat on the back. So when we think about ego and energetic flow, right? Healing doesn't originate from me. And this is from a Reiki perspective, but many of you who are in energetic practitioners, regardless of your modality, feel similarly, right? It doesn't originate from the self. It flows through the practitioner, from this universal life force energy, whether you call it chi, ki, God, whatever. It's through me, not of me. And that reflects the humility and the surrender to put the ego aside. I'm not healing you. And quite frankly, you're healing you. I'm providing that channel, that vessel for you to heal. When I started doing Reiki and talking about Reiki, and I still struggle with talking about what it is and how the world is affected by it, because people don't realize that every single one of you does it probably on a daily basis. If you hit your head and you put your hand on your head, that is Reiki energy. You are You are self-healing. You are self-soothing, right? When a mom puts her hand on a child's skin knee and kisses the boo-boo, that is Reiki energy. That is energy. So when I was talking about it, because I'm in Massachusetts and we have adventurous highway driving, I always talk about highway driving and when I describe Reiki. You have 3 lanes of traffic. You have the slow, the median lane in the middle, and then the fast. When all 3 come to a dead stop, our physical body, our energy is stuck and we can't heal. We can't heal the boo-boo. We can't heal the issue, anything that's broken within us. Then here comes the police, sirens, and everybody moves over to from the fast lane over so that the cop can go by. That's Reiki energy. That is the police creating a path for healing energy. That's how I would describe it. And then everything gets to flow. So in our own body, from the top of our head, which we call the crown, to our feet, and everywhere in between, if you have a blocked anything, you need the traffic cop of energy to come through. Well, Reiki, as I am scanning your body, I'm feeling and sensing and intuiting where you may be blocked. Your pain may be in your foot, but you're blocked in your solar plexus. Well, my goal is to help you relax enough that you can allow your inner traffic cop to release that block so that the energy can flow. For those of us that have heart issues, think of clean vessels, arteries. So instead of having this blocked artery, your energy comes through and it pops it, and the flow of blood is going to and from your heart beautifully. I got you playing, but I'm in the shop working. Thank you, Clint. You take care of yourself and pay attention. I don't know what you're doing, but don't be hurting yourself, pal. So that's what I mean. It is each of us has the ability to heal. One of the things when I was studying Reiki, I want to watch the time. Oh, we've got time. Dr. Usui, Mikao Usui, who reintroduced Reiki after centuries, he wanted to give Reiki free. And he was healing people through as a vessel. But people kept doing the same things, never making the changes to lead healthier lives. Because there was no investment, right? There has to be reciprocity. You have to accept responsibility for changes within yourself in order to be full, to be light, to be love, to be a friend. It's reciprocal. So he had to charge people because there's accountability. And this is why people get so pissed so often. My acupuncturist costs so much money. Yes, because not only does your acupuncturist perform certain services that are opening the meridians and creating flow within your body, helping to heal source, you also then have responsibility to do your exercises, to eat better, to be much more aware of what you're putting into your physical vessel. But when we don't have to pay for something, we don't respect it. I would say that is 9 out of 10 people and 9 out of 10 times. When there is value attached to something, the reciprocity comes back. I value your friendship. If I don't give you any friendship, you're going to eventually sort of just put me on the back burner, right? Well, Teresa's never there for me. She never calls me. She never invites me. Look at her Facebook. She's going out with all these people. P.S. You would never see that on my Facebook, but you know what I mean? It's if I'm not going to be a good friend to you, why should I expect you to be a good friend to me? Reciprocity, compensation. It is an exchange of energy. It's an exchange that elevates us, that raises our vibration. So it's just something to keep in mind as we talk about this, you know? And, you know, when the ego steps aside, the practitioner becomes that vessel for divine intelligence, allowing the energy to move. And that aligns with the law of divine oneness, which teaches that we are all interconnected, that healing you facilitate that part of this huge energetic web, which heals the collective. What does Millie say? That's very true. I've actually heard of that lesson before, and it makes complete sense. And it does. And, you know, we often think, I may go off on a tangent, so rein me in if I diverge off the path too far. But, you know, in the old days, and even pre-me people, the way that we compensated was you went to the farmer and you got milk, right? In order to pay for that, you made the butter. There is a compensation, right? We did a barter. We can barter. And I put in the chat here. I'm working with Tanya Baldwin from Anshara L Pathway Ascension, and we talk about bartering because the way that this universe is intended, you know, we already know electricity is free, water is free, and yet we pay through the tooth. You know, we pay excessive amounts for things that we don't feel like we're getting a fair exchange for. Our food doesn't taste the same because it's being injected with chemicals to make it last longer on the shelves. Well, think about your community, wherever you live. Apples have a certain time that they ripen seasonally. That's when you eat the apples. Same thing is true of any vegetables. So for me, cabbages, broccoli, through this whole growing season, because I'm in gardening season, and I just grew the most delicious eggplant. It's seasonal. We eat seasonally. We barter seasonally. We share. There's going to be people that can sew and make clothes. There are people that can fix cars, that can fix things mechanically. I don't have to know how to do all of those things to be self-sufficient. It is the bartering of our skill sets, right? Some can cook food from practically nothing. And you have others that have all the food in the world and it rots. Where's the reciprocity? And so I don't want to go down the rabbit hole too far, but we're going to come back around because we allowed convenience. So fast food, frozen meals, and we are disconnected. Not so much my generation, so I'm a boomer. But post that, most people don't really know how to cook anything. One of the things that, you know, I tell some of the young people I know to get started, do like a HelloFresh, because what they do is they give you all the ingredients and the instructions. So yes, they've done the shopping for you, but you have to do the cooking. and it teaches you that way, because schools don't teach cooking classes anymore. And again, I'm going back to the olden days, but to have shop, to have art, to have music, all of these are life skills, right? And not having these things, young people can't find their way out of a bloody paper bag. They're like, well, I don't know how to do this. It's like, you don't even tie your shoes anymore. You have Velcro. And I'm very pro Velcro, so please, But bartering trading will be or is making a comeback. 100%, Millie. Communal living, it is going to have to come back. I think in our energetic circles, we are much more highly aware that this is coming back to us. That there is going to be a shift in this energetic world and in this physical world, in this economic world. I want to know where my meat comes from if I choose to eat meat. I am now going to local places. And I used to order Omaha beef, and I don't know what they're doing to their animals. I don't know how they're raising them. I don't know how they're treating them. I don't know what they're injecting them with. I want a cow who's eating the damn grass out of the fields, and you're, caring for them well. If I'm going to eat you. That sounded very graphic. Same thing with fish. I have no control over what's in our oceans anymore. And our oceans are freaking polluted. Pork, not such a bad thing if you treat your pigs well. But if you're on a farm and they're, a pig farm, and that's where it's being mass produced, you don't know what they're doing to it. And the same thing with chickens, and the same thing with everything in our world. Our fruits, I don't want my fruit to be injected with crap. I want it to taste good. Eating that eggplant this week was the most delicious thing. My tomatoes I'm eating them off the vine. They're not even making it into the house. There's a difference because I had to go to the grocery store and get some tomatoes for a meal I was making. There was no flavor to that damn tomato. Just because it looks pretty doesn't mean that it's going to taste pretty. Right? So I think that, that's nice, Millie. High school in neighboring town still offers those classes. Look, that's a commute, and that's community. So if your school system, if you as participants in your community say, these are the things that are important to us, after school programs, and you could make cooking and shop and all these other things after school programs where kids get credit and are off the streets and are building skills. Because, we're in this world where everything is very automated and electronic and AI. And I don't have an opinion about it. I think I've used AI and ChatGPT, and there's value in things. But when I was in the healthcare world, we had a whole hospital dedicated to employees filling out paperwork, getting it to the insurance company, working on reimbursement for physicians in the hospital. Now those got shipped out to India. So I had all these people that you have to retrain. They don't have skills. These were people that didn't have to have a college education to do this job. And they were good at it. My staff were wonderful. So, but they weren't meant to be salespeople. That wasn't their bailiwick. They weren't good at that. We have to be able to create jobs. I've heard recently that there are contractors whose businesses, they can't sustain the amount of work that may be required because there are no people to teach the skills to, because young people don't want to learn it. my heart, it's like plumbers, electricians. We're always that can't go to AI, and that can't be outsourced to India or China or anywhere. I don't even know where we outsource half the crap we do. This is stuff that we can do, that you can have a trade. My dad was a butcher. That's not something you can outsource. And so, you know, when we think about what people can and can't do and the reciprocity, and I know I'm getting off the beaten path here, that is a skill set. I mean, my mom was a great sewer. She tried so hard to teach me, and it wasn't in me. But she didn't knit, and my nana was teaching me how to knit. Different skill sets. Bonnie, hi, thank you for being here. And you're going to yoga class, so you go ahead and listen, girl. We're almost finished anyway. Um, but in this law of compensation, and I really want to sort of bring us back around to our topic here, you know, the 12 universal laws and our egos and how they're intertwined, you know, the ego trap is that there's separation. Divine oneness, we're not separate. We are all interconnected. And when we think about the law of vibration, the trap, the ego says, we're going to hang on to those lower frequencies, whether it's anger or grief or sorrow. But raising the vibration aligns with our healing energy. The law of correspondence, the ego is blaming everybody else. I'm not accepting any responsibility. Witchy Trista, hello, lovey. Um, so that's the inner shift, right? As within, so without. So if we're always blaming someone else, we're never going to heal. We have to take responsibility. We have to look in the mirror. When we think about the law of attraction, right? The ego um, is, is it coming from fear? But when you think of it in a more holistic approach, you attract what you energetically embody. And instead of forcing outcomes with the inspired action, if you act from your intuitive guidance and not egoic control, imagine what you can accomplish. And that with perpetual transmutation, if we're always resistant to change, we're never going to evolve. But if you think about energy is always evolving, it can't stay still. Energy is always evolving. Be the alchemist. The cause and effect. Don't live in victimhood. Every action has a ripple. Choose consciously. And you would be amazed at the metamorphosis that you're going to experience. And so, back to today's law of compensation, we're not entitled to anything. You receive in proportion to what you give energetically. Right? That's just, it's fundamental to us. Mish, everybody's coming in as I'm getting ready to hang up. So when we think about tuning in to our higher frequencies and we talk about, how the law of compensation is almost too simple in our discernment, right? It's thinking about you are compensated in direct proportion to the energy and the intention and the action you contribute to the universe, whether that's materially, emotionally, or spiritually, right? We're maintaining that balance. So if you're putting out a pissy attitude, you're getting a pissy attitude back. If you're putting out love and light, you're going to get love and light. This law is deeply rooted in the idea that nothing is wasted and everything is accounted for in the energetic ledger of existence, the, the higher body. It's energetic reciprocity. Right? None of these so far 8 laws of the universe, and there are 12, and there are many more iterations of this. Others of you have talked about various laws of the universe. These 12 laws of the universe are very much interconnected and elevate us and really make us aware. And I've talked about this before. People that we encounter, if you're looking outside yourself for the answer, it's not going to come. It has to come from within you. We can't look for a savior. Change starts from within. And when we reach out and touch or help someone, you may not know it, but you will get it back tenfold. And it may not be tomorrow. Like with me, all those years ago when I felt I was doing so much for so many people. And yes, I tied my ego into it and had to have a come to Jesus moment, because I gave. In theory, I was giving without the expectation of receiving. And all these years later, I am receiving abundantly from people in my life. Some I didn't even know, some that were, within this community that have raised me up and filled my cup and my heart so that it is overflowing with love. And that says something about this community. So, well, hello, Mr. Floyd. So everybody's coming on in as I'm getting ready to check on out. Check your meshes. Oh, this is for Mish. FYI, no Laura B tonight. She's not feeling well. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Well, let's all send Laura B some love and light right now, send her some healing. Because like I said at the beginning, which is why I'm drinking this potent tea, my allergies are making me, insane and stuffy and congested. It's very intense. All right. Let's see. I think we're good. So, guys, as always, I appreciate each and every one of you that made it, that catch me on the replay. It's really important as I grow my channel for you to like or not like some sort of interaction with the channel and subscribe, because it does help me reach out and make, meet new audiences. Let me just see. Scared. Millie, tonight it's K-Love. And then Misha saying, scared too, Aria. LOL, I've gotten so behind. Ooh, it looks intense. I texted you and messaged you. Oh, all right. You girls are talking amongst yourselves. So, just keep in mind that as a collaborative, hey, B, we are all interconnected. And what we give, we get. And so if we give crap, we get crap. And if we give love, we get love. And that's how we want to treat others as we really do want to be treated. And you'll be surprised at how our world will absolutely implode. Thanks, Bonnie. Appreciate you being here. So with that, you guys, as always, I send you with love, with light, with healing, with compassion, with community, with joy, sprinkled with laughter and giggles. It has been my true blessing and honor to have you here with me today. And until Thursday, where we're going to talk hypnosis.
Like an ice skater dancing out for the first time on the melted ice. No more fears, no sorrows, because I love the coming tomorrows. This life has barely begun, but now I know what I wanna do. I know what I wanna be, reborn. Finally feeling I am fulfilling my destiny, with a heart filled of gratefulness, happiness, joy, overflowing of kindness and love. Oh, so much love. I feel like love is the supportive pillar